We're good for time? Good, fantastic. All right, okay, welcome everybody back to our third day of our TRAMATHON Live week. We are back at Seaton station, as you can see. Today, we will be going up the line, up to Colyton on Tram 19, which you'll see ready behind me. First of all, I want to say thank you for all the donations that came in. We've ramped up very, very quickly yesterday. Fantastic to see, and it's fantastic to see so many people caring about our lovely Seaton Tramway. If you haven't donated already, tram.co.uk/tramathon. If you donate a minimum of £5, you'll be put into our prize draw that will be done on Thursday and Friday. You'll win anything from lifetime tickets to Seaton Tramway, the golden ticket that gets you free entry into all Devon attractions, supplied by Devon Top Attractions, half-day tram driving lessons, whole-day tram driving lessons. So it's very worth it. £5 minimum. You can enter up to 10 times if you want. Improve your chances. So yes, like I said, on Monday we were at Q&A down here. You saw number 7 that's ready to get restored. And yesterday we were up at Riverside Depot and we did a bit of a tour. Those are all still live on our Facebook page, so if you missed those, just go into our video section and you'll see those ready to watch. Thank you everybody that joined us live on those. But today, as part of our trip up to Colyton and back, we thought we'd show you a bit of more of the preparations behind the scenes of the front-facing things that you, our lovely guests, will see when you arrive at Seaton Tramway. So when you arrive in Seaton to our Seaton station, as you come up the ramps, you'll start to see some of our 2-metre markings. So we've got these, you will have seen those yesterday if you were watching yesterday, our 2-metre markings. This is all part of our queue system, so this will head inside. And as you head inside, you'll also see our one-way signage, our sanitising signage, and talking about sanitising, we have sanitising stations outside ready for when you enter. And then you'll head into Claude's on the left, whilst you'll see some of our lovely, lovely staff waiting to greet you, socially distanced, of course. I'll mention today we've also got our lovely friend, colleague, and operations manager extraordinaire, Gareth, with us today. He'll be driving us up to Colyton and back today, and he'll give us a more in-depth view of tram operations and how to actually operate the tram and drive a tram on our line. So follow us through. We're going to go into Claude's, keeping distance 2 metres at all times. You'll follow around into a retail centre. The markers are on the floor at all times. We'll obviously ask you to respect our staff and the distancing between our staff and any instructions that they may give you to make your visit to Seaton Tramway safer. We'll follow around, keeping 2 metres apart. Following along with government guidelines, we will be blocking off all our seating, our indoor seating here at the station, just to keep us all safe as possible. But as you come to the front of the queue, you'll be asked to please wait here until called forward.
Next, please.
And we'll see who's here. Oh, it's Steve, our commercial manager. Hi, Steve.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Seaton Tramway.
Thank you very much. We'd like a few tickets, a few all-day Explorer tickets, please.
Fantastic. Off you go.
Fantastic. So what will happen is we've got these sneeze guards ready to keep you and our staff safe as you interact. We've increased our contactless payments up to £45, and we'll try as much as we can to keep any interactions between you and our staff as minimal as possible, just to protect everyone at all times. Fantastic. Hey Steve, are you coming with us today?
I'm with you.
Oh, fantastic. Steve's with us as well. So once your tickets have been given to you, we'll head out to the platform area to start queuing for the tram. And we'll probably see Mr. Gareth out there. That's what you are now, Mr. Gareth. Sorry, Josh. So at all times there'll be the markers on the floor, keeping distance, and you follow around, each of the 2 metres at all times. At the moment you can obviously see our lovely old Tram 7 on road 4 at the moment, awaiting restoration. Again, donations to the tramway will allow us to continue the future of the tramway and projects like Tram number 7. So just like inside boards, you'll be at the front of the queue until the tram is ready to load, and the tram driver, we'll take cue from the tram driver to load onto the tram. So please let me scroll forward.
Okay, so in a moment I'll call Josh as our passenger forward and our cameraman, obviously. We'll be loading by seat number. It's important to remember that the driver will say, if you're a family, for instance, of 3, please board the tram and take seats 1, 2 and 3. That is so that we can keep everybody safe and socially distanced. The next person might be an individual, which will probably end up in seat 8. And therefore we will keep you all socially distanced as much as we can. So, Josh.
Yes.
Sir, would you like to go and take seat 1, please?
I'd love to take seat 1.
And the cameraman can have seat 5.
Fantastic.
So, the south end, I'm going to go to the north end.
Wonderful. As we board, we'll make sure to keep safe at all times. And as we go up the lines this afternoon, Gareth will take over and we will see what it takes to prepare the tram for a journey and departure, and what the tram driver is thinking as they go up the line. And we'll also be peppering in some facts and whatnot as we go up the line. Now, once again, if you've got any questions for us here at the tramway, Gareth as he's driving, please let us know in the comments. Just type them along and we'll get to them as we can. We've got about a half an hour trip up to Colyton, and then we'll show you how Colyton's doing as well. Okay, shall we load?
And welcome to Tram 19.
Here we go.
Okay, so we've seen Tram 19 before. If you've joined us on the last 2 days, if you haven't, this is Tram 19, ex-Exeter Corporation car. We're going to be taking it all the way up to Colyton this afternoon and hopefully back to Seaton again. So whole trip's going to take us about an hour, so I hope you've got your coffee and your biscuits alongside you. We'd like coffee and biscuits, but unfortunately we've got a job to do this afternoon, so we'll just participate virtually. Right, first thing we need to do, check is the tram ready to go? Now, we've already checked that the trolley is trailing, because obviously we don't want to push trolleys forward because there's a risk of dewirement. So trolley's trailing, lights, we've got a white light, headlight at the front, we've got a red light at the back. I have the key to the tram in my hand. You'll always see our drivers will always have the key with them. The key's never left on the controller, obviously for health and safety reasons. So let's have a quick look at the cab here. We've got a Dick Kerr DB1 controller again. This is a staff or a token used on the single track line from here to the depot. We will show you the operation of that now when we pull forward. So we're not going to actually do a trip that you would normally have, because we'll probably take a little bit more time explaining things. Again, if you've got questions, get them typed in and then Josh will read about, and we will between us try and answer any of your questions. I guarantee we'll answer them all, but most of them. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, 2 rings of the bell, signals that we're about to move after I've checked all around, and we're going to move forward now just to the staff post.
Great.
Okay, Josh, are you ready?
Yeah.
Here we are at the staff post. So Josh will follow me off now so you can see what happens here.
He will. Ooh.
We basically have a stop board. Pretty obvious what it says: stop, obtain white light before proceeding. You can't obtain a white light without the staff. So I shall start the system. and you should see this white light come on. There we go, we've got a white light, which means now we have possession of this track up to Riverside. No tram can enter from Seaton because without a staff, if they go through a skate, which we'll show you in a minute, it trips the whole system. It'll stop that tram coming, it'll also stop us, but obviously for safety reasons. If Josh, can you get in on that skate down there?
Yeah, should be able to. There we go.
You'll also see a white S on a blue diamond, which is our limit of shunt. When we're shunting trams at Seaton, we're allowed to go down to that board to come back in on another line if we need to shunt trams round. If you go beyond that, you'll go through the skate without the staff and without a white light. It's going to trip the system. Okay, Josh, we'll get back on.
Okay.
If you want to go first.
Yeah, I'll try. I think there's some issues with internet connection, but bear with us. We are back. Oh, I'll try and get on. So just explain what you're thinking about as you use your controller there, Gareth.
I'm just thinking first, I hope you're not going to fall off the platform, Josh. So hold tight. Okay, so I've just put it into forward. I've got the brake, got pull off the brake, so it's under my hand. I will ring the bell, look over my shoulder, check everybody's sat down into one as I let the brake off. I've checked the points are obviously set for us. We have a limited speed on the tramway of half walking pace, which is about 2 miles an hour through all sets of points. Quite a gradient here. I don't need any power, but I do need to get my hand on the brake because obviously the tram, as you can probably sense, is picking up speed already. You will see these yellow triangles with a black W along the line, and that it's not a whistle board, it's a warning board. 2 dings, and basically in case we have workers or somebody walking on the track the other side of the blind corner. Still no power, we're just really coming down under gravity. That was windy corner, so cold because as you come round it northwise, when it's windy it is really blowing around there. So here we come to Poppy Corner. There used to be a lot of poppies growing on this corner. We haven't seen any for a few years, we must plant some. Still no power, still coming round on gravity because we're still on a decline. Okay, so we're levelling out now, so I shall put the controller into first notch. 19 is a series only tram, so it only has 4 notches. The art of driving a tram is certainly you don't want to stay in any of the series notches longer than about 4 or 5 seconds and to coast as much as you can.
Thank you everyone that's joining us in the chat. I can see you all there. Follett, hello. Oliver, yeah, hello. Paul, hi. Rebecca, hello. Richard, hello again. Roger, hello again. Ryan, hi. Just let us know, I know that obviously we're now on the tram, just to let us know that you can still hear us over the track noise, that would be helpful. We've just gone over Leeds Bridge. Why is it called Leeds Bridge, Gareth?
Because the original metalwork that held the track up was from Leeds tram terminus.
Fantastic.
Okay, we just entered what we call a caution set of track, and that's because sleepers are being replaced along here, so we have a reduced speed limit until we see a board with a T on, which you'll see in the distance, and I'm sure Josh will zoom in on when we get there, which actually means terminate. So basically we're in a work section, so we have to be extra vigilant and extra slow. Obviously nobody is working, but the signs are still there, so we still have to abide them.
Fantastic. Thank you, Charlie, Roger and Ryan. Fantastic. It's just worth looking at the view to our left here over the farmers' fields. The lambing season obviously is in full effect. You've got a little light to the top left of you, Gareth. Can you explain? Yeah, that's the one. Can you explain that?
That's our line light. That is illuminated to show that we are connected to the overhead. Now,
Fantastic.
if for any reason the trolley became detached from the overhead, you lose that light and you also get a buzzer go off. You need to stop the tram as fast as you can then and safely, because obviously you don't want to go through any of the overhead with the trolley off the wire because you risk pulling the overhead down. So we just need to pick up a little bit of speed here because this is quite an incline.
Hello, Robert from Norway. Hello, Owen. How are you? As we come round Depot Corner, we're just gonna see our new decking, our new platform here at Riverside. This is brand new for this year. It was actually built in the last week just before lockdown started, so we're very lucky to get this this started. And we are in our first loop of the system going north.
I'm just going to hang the staff up now because we no longer need it for the rest of the line. The rest of the line is line of sight. But obviously, if there's another tram coming southbound, they needed to get into section 1. Okay.
Here we go. So we're now entering what would be the first part of the original steam line. Is that correct, Gareth?
That's correct, yes. Yeah, the old Seaton station platform ends at the end of our depot, or ended at the end of the depot. Interesting fact about Seaton branch line, Seaton station had one of the longest platforms of any branch line, and that was because obviously its heyday with the holiday camp there, you used to get quite a few coaches, train coaches, not road coaches, in behind the old steam engine.
Hello, Nicola. Hello, Ashley. If you've got any questions for us and Gareth driving, let us know in the chat. We'll be happy to answer anything we can.
There's a fox on the line up ahead, but I don't think you'll get that.
Let's see if I can. It's a fox. Can we see it? Oh, we can see the fox. Oh, it's focused on the glass.
Just run off.
Just run off, look. So what range of speed would we normally go at up the line, Gareth?
Travel really at a maximum of about 12 miles an hour. It always seems that you're doing more than that because obviously you're near the ground and a lot of our cars are open, and just like if you're in a sports car on the road, it seems like you're going faster than you are if you're in a nice big posh saloon.
And we make sure that our loops are a certain time?
Yeah, 3 minutes between all loops.
3 minutes between all loops. So we're now going up the Axe Valley. You'll see Axmouth village on the right. And on the left here is the Seaton Wetlands, Seaton Marshes Hide on the left there.
I think we've got a treat for you folks on the way back with Steve Waite, who will tell you a lot about the birds, and hopefully we'll see some nice birds on the way back, and it'll be better than Spring Watch.
So we've got some questions coming in. Hi Natalie, yeah, absolutely. Come and you can be a tram driver. Usually we're looking at the start of each year. We'll sort of do a release of applications to see if we've can get any new drivers in on our line. We do have a mixture of volunteered and paid drivers on our tramway.
If I can interrupt you here, Josh.
Yes.
Just an interesting thing to show the folks.
Yeah.
We're slowing right down now because we're coming to Axmouth Loop, and the first points. I'm looking to check the points are set right and the blades are closed, and also the frog is correct at the top. If you look ahead of the tram, you'll see a white light on that post, and once we've gone through and our trolley comes on the correct wire, we should get a white light flash.
There it was.
Which means that the trolleys behind us were clear to proceed. Obviously, if trolley goes wrong wire, then you've got central traction poles, and you're going to cause a bit of damage and not be very happy with the engineers. Or I should say the engineers aren't going to be very happy with you.
Hi Richard. Yes, very good question. How much does social distancing reduce our capacity? It depends on the tram. We're going to try our hardest to get all the double-deckers out because they are our biggest tram. We're reducing to, well, we're estimating a reduction to about 50%, but it will depend on the groupings because we'll be able to do our best to keep people 2 meters apart. Our double deckers do have saloons on them, so we can keep family groups in the saloons, etc. We can also run our accessible wheelchair bays as well whilst we're doing that, and obviously you're much safer when you're up on the open top at the top of the trams. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, we're just coming up to Axmouth Generator Hut, which is an original Southern Railway hut there.
A dinosaur on top.
One of our battery sets alongside. And here's Tower Hyde, again part of the magnificent Seaton Wetlands. All the hides are shut at the moment, obviously, during the current situation, but the wetlands are open, so you can walk through the wetlands. Another bit of the old railway that's left over. If you look ahead of us now, on the right and on the left, are 2 old Southern Region signal posts. Now, they had a habit of making signal posts out of railway track for economy and speed. If you look closely at them, you'll see them, an old plate layers hut to the right. And those signals we've just passed were both what they call fixed distance signals. The one going south for Seaton, the one going north for Colyton. A fixed distance signal basically meant beware, the next signal you come to could be on stop.
Hello everybody to joining us in the chat. We've got about 100 people with us at the moment. That's fantastic to see. Say hello in the chat. Any questions you've got, please do put them in the chat below. We'll try and answer them as much as we can. What I can notice though is we are moving up on Seaton Wetlands, so I think we'll take it slowly through here just to give you an idea about where we're going to be putting our new halt. This
Before
obviously.
we get there, can I just say we're going across Bobsworth Bridge. Bobsworth Bridge, an interesting name. People say, why Bobsworth Bridge? Because when we first opened in 1970, the trams only ran from the depot to that actual bridge, and the fare then was a bob, or for those too young to remember the old money, 1 shilling or 5 pence. And that was a return trip. Obviously, inflation has taken place since, and the trip is a lot longer. Josh.
So, just ahead of us, if we take this one slowly, we can see the Seaton Swan's Nest halt in front of us. We're going forward now in the future to bricklay this over, like we've done with the Riverside halt last, a couple of years ago now. And then what we'll find is just out onto the left, the halt will come ever so slightly out to the left, where the queuing system will be, and it'll travel all the way down side here, down the side back towards Bobsworth Bridge, and then the aim is to connect the decking all the way to the visitor centre at the Wetlands. There we go. Right, let's see what we've got in the chat.
Interesting feature, Josh, if you can zoom in on it over there, just between the 2 trees, is a pillbox left over from World War II, obviously.
There it is. We've got from Alfie, age 8, what is the maximum speed of a tram?
The maximum speed of a tram that we like to travel is about 12 miles an hour. They will travel faster, but we do limit the speed. I mean, I would like to guess how fast you could actually get one up to probably 20-25 miles an hour given the right circumstances, but we never travel at that speed.
Absolutely. Hello Christopher, hello Julie. Rosie, yeah, fish and chips would be lovely, absolutely. Ryan Lamb says, can you say hello to Gareth from me please? He knows me well.
Hello Ryan, how are you? How's mum and dad?
There we go. Hello Paul from North London.
Interesting feature here, Josh, again from the railway, if you can pan down there, is a level. We've been on the level and now we're going up an incline of 450.
There we go, some lovely people out in the wetlands today, social distancing. we've got someone, we've got on the coastal line of Sri Lanka enjoying the view. All the way from Sri Lanka.
Wow.
That's right, Gareth, the visitor centre at the Wetlands is the Discovery Hut, that's absolutely right. So we're just coming up on somewhere. Where's that, Gareth?
Colyton Common. Okay, so we're approaching now the River Colly and the Colly Bridge, which will bring us into Colyford, which is what we call our halfway station. It is just over halfway, to be honest with you, and it's at the site of the old Colyford railway halt. This was the Seaton branch line.
Hello from sunny Southend. Cannot wait to visit again. Absolutely, we hope to get you back here one day as well. Hello from Edward from Lancashire. Hello Lee. Yes, yesterday's camera man was better, was it? Okay. Nicholas, car 4. Well, actually, we are doing our 24-hour Tramathon tomorrow, so we'll be going live for 24 hours whilst we do a tram trip for 24 hours, and car number 4 will be the first tram out, as long as the weather upholds, but we might take it out anyway, because it hasn't been out for a while, but yes, it will be out tomorrow. Hi John, enjoyed my driving experience on Tram 16 with Noel back in the 2018 for your 50th. Fantastic. Seaton Tramway is enjoying its 50th year this year in August. Hello Chris from Adelaide.
So here we are at Colyford. If Josh goes to the left, there's a genuine Victorian cast iron gents urinal. Not many of those left in the country now, and certainly not in use anymore. We normally stop there to let passengers alight or board the tram, but we're going to go up to the actual level crossing control. As you can see, there's a big stop sign, which is a compulsory stop. And then we have to get off the tram and operate the level crossing, which I will do now.
Fantastic. Hi Liz. Hi Martin. Hi John. Will we see Kevin? Well, we might see him. He might be under the undergrowth. We don't know. Yeah, we can get a shout out for George. Everybody wish George a happy 4th birthday today.
Happy birthday, George.
Hi Milo and Ava and Dawn. So we're just waiting for the lights now so we can cross.
There we go. We've got a white light, we can move forward.
Hello Vaughan from Wales, hello. Not very busy today. Another Jenny hut. Don't forget, any questions, pop them in the chat below. We'll be happy to answer as we go towards Colyton now.
So we've left the Axe Valley and we're into the Colly Valley now, and from here all the way up to Colyton, it's a nice steady incline. The pheasant just getting out of the way of the tram there.
Ding ding. So there's a few crossings over the track. What's something you do have to do as a driver when you're going over these crossings, Gareth?
Slow down, ring your bell twice, and keep a very careful eye out for any traffic or farm vehicles that may be crossing. Most of our crossings are locked, although we will be coming up through Tie Lane to the East Devon Way, which is a public footpath, which obviously you have to be very vigilant that we haven't got anybody crossing the track.
Hi Steffi, how long has the tram been operating before? So Seaton Tramway is actually celebrating its 50th year this year, although the parent company Modern Electric Tramways is a little bit older than that, as they operated out of Eastbourne originally. But just quickly, Gareth, how long has this particular tram been operating for?
Sorry, excuse me, just a minute, just check it out, sorry.
That's all right, you're doing your job.
Some of our loops we haven't actually got lights in, so you need to visually check. Well, this is an ex-Exeter Corporation car, obviously, which dates back to the turn of the century. That's the last century, not this millennium. It's been with us. Do you know, I can't remember. Mine's gone blank.
Gone blank.
I'll give that a thought and come back to you on that one.
We got a few staff members watching. I'm sure they can put it in the chat. A little bit of a test for them, everybody. When was, how old is Tram 19 come into service?
Okay, so we're just coming up 40 step away. As I said, it is a public footpath. We do get quite a few walkers walking in, so
So yeah, there's the footpath coming from the right over the track to the left. 1998, Mark says.
sounds about right. And that's Mark Horner. Good afternoon, Mark, and thank you for that.
Who's replying at Seaton Tramway? We got some friends on the right. That's one of the lovely things about our 3-mile trip is just the amount of countryside you get to see, going through the 2 nature reserves and all the farmland. And on the left you'll start to see Colyton village start to creep out through the trees. I think you might be able to see the church spire.
Josh, let's not offend the people of Colyton. It is a town, remember, not a village.
It's a town, I'm so sorry. So this is our last loop going north. So just as a piece of trivia, Gareth, we don't always travel by miles per hour here, do we? We go by walking pace,
and
yeah.
half walking pace. Points are always half walking pace. All our points, well, most of our points, well, you'll see them all, they're all sprung in the direction we want to travel. So this point now we're pushing through, and you'll see when we come back down, it'll actually take us out through the loop. Another old signal there on the left, right.
Right.
Does help if you know which your left and right is. So now we're entering the final bit of the climb up into Colyton. Just going to go over a bridge here again, an original railway bridge, Kerslake Bridge this is. Again, because the tramway's been shut, forced to be closed obviously, for the last 3 months, nigh on now. The weeds are taking a hold. They will be treated again as soon as we're open. Not priority obviously, although the track has been checked this week and everything has been made sure it's serviceable for today and generally for our 24-hour Tramathon.
Yeah, so that's a really great point to mention. Thank you to our engineers that have come out of furlough for this week to help make the track ready to show off our lovely tramway this week. Hi Claire. So we're just coming up to Colyton now. And we'll take you on a little mini tour of Colyton, although we won't be able to go inside today. We'll be able to show you around the platform and sort of give you an idea about how we've been preparing the station. Hi Lindsay, hope you're well. So those that frequent the tramway often may see a little change up here in the point system. Is that right, Gareth?
Yes. The old curve coming out has now been straightened, so when we come back out of Colyton, we're coming straight down now. So we just need a check that we come through okay.
of walking pace, what's the walking pace in a station?
Walking pace.
Right.
You just said that. Yeah, always steady through any station area, obviously, because you never know whether you're going to get somebody, a child or even an adult, run out or walk out in front of you. Now some of you will be thinking, hang on, they've gone straight through Colyton. Trams always go through Colyton, and we stop at what we call Stub End. We'll show you that in a little bit more detail when we get there. Again, our apologies for the weeds on the line. It is usually immaculate.
And this just shows to prove just the amount of behind the scenes things that you might not see at the tramway when you travel. You get our fantastic front of house staff, but it's just the amount of work that goes on behind the scenes with caretaking and track maintenance that generally should go unnoticed, because if you're noticing them, something's wrong. Great, so we're now at Stub End.
We're at Colyton. I think Josh and our cameraman are going to get off. I'm going to turn the tram. First thing I do, Josh can pan up, is I'm going to change over the lights so that we can actually show you. I think we open the back light there. As I change over, that light will come on, and that's showing a red light, and I'm sure when they get off, Josh can show you that a little bit more. And I'll leave you to get off. I think they're going to go down and we're going to film. I'm going to pull the tram forward and we'll go through the trolley reverser. Nice bit of kit, and Josh will explain what happens as I drive it through.
Fantastic. It's just worth mentioning straight ahead, obviously we've got our play area now, so we can't go any further than a few yards. But this would have taken the old line up to Seaton Junction, which were connected to Axminster, Waterloo, and that's how the old trains would have got down to the coastline. Right, so
okay,
let's head off. If we pan that way, we can see our lovely station, and Gareth's just going to prepare the tram to move back towards the station. Now, those of you that know the tramway and frequent the tramway, you'll know that we drop you here, and that will be continuing when we reopen. You will get dropped here, and you'll walk back down towards the station. But what won't happen is you won't load at the same end. So the tram will usually, and you'll see Gareth do this in a second. Gareth will move the tram back down to the tram stop, and that's where you would queue up on the ramp. Those of you that know the tramway. There's been a few changes just to keep crowds dispersed and away from each other. Excuse me. We'll now be loading at the far end of the platform. Okay, so I think we'll watch Gareth take the tram down as we walk through. Off you go, Gareth. Oh yes, we'll walk down. Sorry, my fault. So what we'll do is we'll show you actually at Seaton Station. It's a manual turn of the trolley, or any other loop where we might have to stop or turn directions. But we do have a trolley reverser here at Colyton, which means that once the tram turns, the trolley will go through the reverser and we'll be ready to move the other direction. So we're going to head down to the reverser, ready for Gareth to come down. Let's go. Okay, we've got a thumbs up from Gareth, and he's going to make his way down, and we're going to watch the trolley as it goes through the frog. Yep, so he's on the right line. And then you'll watch this majestic piece of engineering. Push out, spring loading will come back through, ready to collect the new passengers. Now that's what used to happen in a normal scenario, and the tram would stop there, or he has done now, but what will happen once we reopen is we'll actually load the platform, load our guests from the south end of the platform.
I'll go down to the south end, Josh, and I'll join you down there now in a minute.
Fantastic, thank you, Gareth. Okay, so we'll just give you a little bit of a taster of Colyton. This is obviously the old steam railway station. On the right would have been the old sidings and the water tower, etc. Some of the old buildings are still there. But what we're going to do as well is we've been working over the last year, I mentioned this yesterday, with our Heritage Lottery funding to add to the customer experience. And part of that is sharing even more of our history through interpretation here at the Tramway. So some of you may know our milk shed. Well, that's been completely renovated now, and it's a nice little room to experience some of the history of Colyton and the Tramway. I'm just waiting for Steve. I'm going to give him some distance, but just waiting for Steve to open the milk shed. How are you doing, Steve? Not very well at the moment. Okay, I'll keep talking. Is there any questions?
Yes, we've got one here asking how quickly can we stop a moving tram in an emergency?
How quickly can we stop a moving tram in an emergency? You know what? We're better off saving that one for Gareth. Depending on the gradient, obviously going uphill much easier, but you power off, brake straight on, and depending on speed, obviously you're looking at sort of 8 to 10 tons worth of tram. Yeah, it can depend on the tram, but we'll push that one to Gareth in a bit. Okay, so how you doing?
Why don't we come and have a look at the
Yeah, if you move out of the way, I'll I'll follow you so you can get a view, and then. So this is your normal trip up from the tram once you've been dropped off. You'd see the milk churning on the left, and then you carry back down onto the platform. We are currently making preparations, so none of this is properly finished yet. But you will see that you will be moved through the gate on the left, through the shop on a one-way system. Especially those that are arriving straight here in their car, you'll be pushed through on a one-way system, similar to how we got at the station to buy your tickets, and then you'll be sort of fed back out onto the platform further down. On your right, we'll see some more of the interpretation. Not that one. One of these are clean, that one. But some of the postcards that we've got installed. So these are all real postcards that we've got in our archives, talking about visiting Seaton, the coastline, using the old steam railway. Just sort of history frozen in time there on some of these postcards. You'll see sort of the Seaton Harbour on that one, the Axmouth Bridge and Haven Cliff, Seaton on that one. And the landslip at Seaton. So yes, we've got quite a few of those over here. It looks like we've had some success with the milk churn. We found the right key. That's good. Obviously we've been locked up. Everything's been locked up for security whilst we've been down at the other end. So we're rushing to get. How are we doing, Steve? Nearly ready. Fantastic. How are you doing, Gareth?
Fine.
Good. We had a question. How quickly does it take to a tram to stop?
It really depends on the speed you go in. As I say, we don't travel more than 12 miles an hour. It also depends on the conditions, whether it's dry or wet. I would imagine you can pull a tram up within 10-15 seconds absolute maximum, if you're doing walking pace. Not on a sixpence, but fairly quickly.
Yeah. Depends on the tram, the weight of the tram,
Absolutely.
Passengers, uphill, downhill.
Absolutely.
Noise now. That's good. This is all working. So we've installed sort of place marker maps as well across the line. So especially once we get things like our Wetlands halt open, which you'll be able to board from and to, you'll see where you are on the station, just to easily understand where you are if you get turned around, especially if you're not used to the area or from the area. So as part of our new interpretation, like I say, we've completely transformed the milk churn, and here we've got our sort of station life. There's the old steam railway. Those of you who know us, especially over the last few years, you'll remember Gilbert, our station master, our mascot. Well, he's actually based off a real person. Gilbert Cowd, and he was Colyton station master from 1892 to 1908. And we've got a few tools of sort of what he might have in his pocket, in his desk, around as an employee of the railway. You've got a bit of a map of the trade connections. Seaton, it was good for Seaton and the East Devon were good for coal merchants, leather, milk, especially. That's why this building gets its name, the milk churn. And out on the right, we've got a new interpretation film that you can sit and watch on a bench. Sort of loops around the system as you get, and you can sort of learn a little bit more about the local area, get some pictures as it's all narrated. But we won't tease it. We'll tease it, but we won't let too much go. Fantastic. So, we'll make our way back onto the platform. You probably have this to memory more. The age of the platform.
The station was built with the line.
80 years.
In the 18th century, Josh.
Thank you.
Come on, make that brain work. The railway was open for 98 years. Opened in 1888 and closed in 1868 and closed in 1966 under the axe of that dear gentleman, Dr. Beecham. So it saw 98 years as a branch line. In its heyday, it did see a lot of passengers, especially when the original Warner's Holiday Camp was opened down in Seaton, which is now Tesco's and Bovis Homes development. That was a sad day for Seaton, really, when the holiday camp closed, but holidays were changing. Now, after this lot, I think perhaps holidays will change again for a little while, but we'll have to wait and see. So, yeah, 98 years as a railway, Josh.
Fantastic. 50 years as a...
Absolutely, as a tramway.
Will beat its record.
Yeah, and we do get a lot of questions about why don't we open the tramway up to Seaton Junction, which is about a mile and a bit that way. And of course, the big problem is Seaton Junction is no longer a station; it's a through line, and the Network Rail got no intention of reopening it as a station. So there's no real point in us, as we discussed yesterday, I think, Josh.
Yeah,
reopening it because obviously
the land that it
cost would be phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely. So what can you do here once you're at Colyton? What do our drivers suggest once we get off?
Colyton. We have some lovely food usually in our cafe restaurant, or just a cup of tea and one of our delicious cream teas. We've got our shop. Across the line in the old goods shed is the vintage shed, which is a sort of retro antiques and collectibles and crafts thing, not owned by us. The building's owned by us, but we sublet that out. Or a 10-15 minute walk down what I call Station Approach and down into Colyton itself, where you've got, I think Josh has already said about the church and some quaint little buildings and some lovely walks around you as well.
Absolutely. If you want to escape it all, this is one of the places to go.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So, like I said, you'd be once we reopen. At the moment, you'd be redirected through into the gift shop, straight through into the ticket office, and then out through onto the platform. We will have a limited ability to serve food and drinks, but it will all be takeaway. So you'll be able to take that back on the tram for your southbound journey. So we're going to take you down down to the platform. If I can survive. There we go. So this is an off out of bounds area, so that we don't mix crowds coming and going as much as we can. And we'll head down towards the south end of the platform. So so like I say, you'll be brought back out of here, and then should you want to take a seat, we have got social distance seating. We will have a strict cleaning regimen with our staff when they come back. And we've got our toilets down there as well, which we cleaned throughout the day as well. So,
Josh.
Yes.
Oh,
we've got some questions.
best behaviour because Mr. Vincent Fox is watching.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Hello, Paul. Let's have a look. We've got a question from Claire. When are you going to open again? Same question actually from Lee.
Thank you. Thank you, Claire and Lee. We are aiming for July. We're on the understanding that we can go forward from sort of the 4th of July. That is still a guide date. That's what we're aiming for. But we're going under every guidance from the government. We are asking you, our lovely guests, your opinion on how to make our site safer for you to feel safer when you visit. So if you go to one of our pin posts on our Facebook page, you can actually fill in a survey to sort of give your opinion across, completely anonymous, of course. So yeah, we are aiming for July is the best way to say that one.
Hello, Joseph Hart. Just joined us.
Hello, Joseph. Any more questions?
That's it for now
Okay,
that I
you're
can
staring
see.
at
Hang on
me.
a sec. Just got to go back up. Tom Simpkins asked a few minutes ago, do you build completely new trams for the line?
Gareth, do we build completely new trams? Have we ever built completely new trams from the line?
Yes. 17, which has become 15, was a brand new tram built here at Seaton. 9, 10, 11 were built here at Seaton. Let's have a think. 12's been rebuilt here 3 times now, 4 times in total, obviously. So in fact, bar the heritage trams, which are 14, 16 and 19, all the trams were built by the Tramway. Admittedly, some of them were built at Eastbourne, and actually Barnet, which is where the founder, Claude Lane, had a milk float company. Claude Lane, who formed Modern Electric Tramways, used to run an electrical engineering company, for want of a better word, and build milk floats and bread floats. Some of us are old enough to remember them, some of you won't be. Josh is laughing because he's just a child, albeit a big child. So yeah, so we do build a lot of the vehicles ourselves, Josh.
Thank you. Right, so what we'll do is we've locked up now, so what we'll do is we'll head back towards Tram 19 and get the tram ready for departure going south. Like I say, if you've got any other questions, we're doing the entire south journey as well. Keep your questions coming in the chat below, and we'll get to them as quickly as we can. Okay, let's go.
Okay, let's say hello as we walk to Claire, Derbyshire.
Okay.
Yeah, we miss you as well. She says she's going to miss this season, unfortunately, and she misses Seaton Tramway. And Susan Davis, hello from William Thomas, age 5. Hello, William.
Hello.
Hope you're having a lovely time.
Okay, so like I say again, those that you know the Tramway, you'll know that we've got picnic benches everywhere. Well, we've had to sort of keep them away. You'll see we've started to pack them away, and this will all be closed off once we reopen. This is just to ensure that we don't see groupings of people, and you know, it just makes things easier when we know exactly what we have to clean at all times. Are we staring at a question?
I'm trying to read it. It's quite difficult to read things from 2 metres away. Let's have a look. Oh, hello, Neil. Neil Matthews is watching. Neil's one of our volunteer drivers here, and an avid model builder. And we've got a message from John Schofield. Hi, Josh.
Hi, John.
On reopening, will passengers need to wear face coverings as per public transport?
We're actually going through the guidance with this at the moment. I know that's been released. As i.e. public transport at the moment, you know, that's being put through as guidance. We're just trying to follow that up as to whether we're included. Obviously, if you as a customer feel safer wearing masks, at the moment that's not part of our plans, but if you yourself feel safer wearing masks whilst with us at the Tramway, absolutely fine, there's no problem. What we will be doing with a lot of our all of our drivers to keep them safe and to keep you safe is to, instead of having those face masks, we'll be having those sort of screens. So it still allow you to sort of see them and make things a little bit easier to understand, and they're reusable for the person, so it'll keep costs down, keep things a little bit economic for us and the guests and the staff. So we're going to head down. Gareth, do you want to unlock that gate so we can get through?
You've only got to open it, Josh. It's not that difficult.
Oh, I didn't know if
honestly.
the pin was in. I know you've already been through it, that's all.
Hey!
Fantastic. So like I say, we'll now be queuing down this end and waiting for, like we did at Seaton, for the driver to call you forwards. That'll be group at a time. So once one group has been seated, the next group will be called forward, and there'll be numbered seating when we reopen, and you'll take that cue from the driver.
Okay, would you like
Are we ready to
forward?
go?
Absolutely.
Fabulous. Let's go. How are we doing this? We getting on? Welcome back on board. Any more questions in the chat? Feel free to put them through, and we will get to them as quickly as we can.
Okay, so we'll answer questions on the way down now, but we'll have a slightly quieter ride down until we get across the 3052 and down onto Colyford Common and that, where we're going to have a little bit of a chat with Steve Waite, our commercial manager, who is also a very keen bird watcher.
Keen? Oh, he's just keen.
Ornithologist.
Oh, an ornithologist.
Ornithologist.
I called him a naturist earlier, and I realised no, not a naturist, a naturalist. Okay, are we all comfortable?
Yeah, absolutely. Mark's quickly asked, can either Gareth or Josh tell us about some of the funny or strange things that have happened to them during their time on the tramway? Keep it clean.
I think, Josh, you're going to have to try and think of something first, because unfortunately I'm driving it, and I've got too many stories. We'd have to have 20 round trips to get through them.
I know one of the really fun ones that we get every now and again is we'll get guests asks whether we go to Lyme Regis. So we do get that question, whether we go to Lyme Regis, and we will get some people who will remember when we used to go to Lyme Regis. So they'll ask why we don't go to Lyme Regis anymore. Or when we tell them we've never been to Lyme Regis, they'll argue, we will, you have. It's just a lovely fun thing that seems to be this sort of Mandela effect across guests across the tramway. It's really interesting part of our visitorship. It's a really fun thing to experience as a driver or as a staff member at the tramway.
On the line in front of us, Josh.
And more foxes, fantastic.
And off onto the left.
I know a lot of people will have seen during the lockdown a lot more wildlife hanging around, and I'm sure we'll talk to Steve in a bit about why that might be and what sort of wildlife will be enjoying this type of quietness away from humans. A few more questions. Sheriff, I'm a designer as a hobby. I would like to ask if you would let me design a tram for you with modern technology built in. That's a great question, actually. Interestingly enough, every year at the moment, as part of our HLF funding, we have been doing sort of a thing with the local schools, which is called our Tram Toppling Challenge, where they design a tram to prevent it from toppling. So the first part of the challenge is to work out the parameters of 2 trams on our tramway and to work out what it would take to tip a tram with certain load passengers. Obviously that's never happened at the tramway, but it's a great thought experiment for maths and technology students to sort of work out and figure out. And when we never go fast or load up enough for that to ever happen anyway, but it's a good thought experiment. And then we asked them, as part of the second part of the challenge, to design a system, a preventative strategy to that if we were to start toppling over, some sort of system that would stop that from happening. So we've had everything from sort of middle rails with a clamp on it, to thrusters on the side, to sort of dead man switches that you get on almost all, if not all, railways nowadays, and which are some of our modern trams actually do have at the tramway. So I'm sure in the future that's something that we're always looking to see if we can get more in. It just has to be economical for us as a tramway to be able to build it and get it back onto the line. Obviously, it's worth noting again that we are a 2'9" gauge tramway, so that's 2'9" between the tracks. As far as we know, and we haven't been disputed yet, as of the present time, we are the only 2'9" gauge in the country, and if not the world. Susan, yes, Sophie, age 7, would like to know if there are any female tram drivers.
Yes, we did have 2 until recently, and this year we should have had 3 more female tram drivers coming on board, but unfortunately, literally 4 days before the training started for this year's drivers or volunteer drivers, obviously this unprecedented thing happened and we haven't been able to train them, but they will be here soon. And
Yeah, absolutely.
we're looking for more and more volunteer drivers, be it male or female.
Yeah, we're always looking for more tram drivers. Like I said earlier, we sort of go out for applications maybe at the end of the year to the start of the next year, so that they're ready to go through their training, their medicals, etc., ready for the new season when it starts between February and March, depending on what their start date might be given by Gareth.
Now, something to look at now. Josh was talking at Ty Lane, to Cownhame. This is Ty Lane Loop coming up, and a lot of people say to us, why do you always stop? Well, we always stop because there's a big board that says stop. If you see that stop sign, it is a compulsory stop. No two ways about it. There's no reason. You can't go straight through it. You have to stop. It says stop, and you'll see it as we get closer, then proceed. The whole reason is it's the sharp turnout, and it's to make sure the tram is nice and slow to go through that turnout.
Yeah, like we say, we are going downhill at the moment, so you can essentially take the power off and just pick up speed exponentially as you go down. So yeah, again, it's to sort of keep those speeds down. Claire asks, have you ever had any funny things on the track that you had to slow down for? Anything in your experience?
Quite a few deer. I don't suppose they're funny, are they, really?
Oh dear.
We've had deer, we've had cows, we've had sheep, we've had people, very disappointingly. But we do slow down for everything. We try not to kill anything. We did have last year, Steve could tell you a bit about this, we did have a oyster catcher with his nest in the middle of the 2'9" down on the wetlands, and every time a tram came along, the oyster catcher got off, went to the side, waited for the tram to pass, and then went back and sat on the eggs again.
We might be able to. When we were out last Monday on a track inspection, we did see some eggs beside the track just last week.
That's an oyster catcher again, but Steve's your man for that, not me.
So we're just coming up on the approach to Colyford Crossing.
One of the things we do get a lot on the track earlier in the year usually are pheasants, and as most of you will know, I don't think pheasants were born with a particularly large brain, and instead of just stepping off the track, they tend to run sometimes for 20-30 yards in front of us before then diving into a bush.
Hello Yvonne and Ian. Hello Ian, watching from Malaysia. Hello, how is Malaysia this time of year? Lee asks, what qualifications do you need to be a tram driver? Well, it's all in-house training, so from an outside perspective, I don't think you need any qualifications outside the tramway, do you, Gareth?
You need to be 18 at least.
Oh, you need to be 18 at least, yeah. 18 and over.
Yeah.
But that's really all you need.
You need to be in good health.
Yeah, you'll
medical.
make your application to us. On successful application, you'll be sent for a medical. As long as you pass that, everything's a-okay. You'll be then taken on a 2-week tram driving course. It's Monday to Friday for 2 weeks. And the first week is sort of just essentially learning how to drive. There's Gareth doing the switch for the crossing. We'll do our best to let cars across if we can. So yes, driving qualifications. Yeah, so you'll be brought in for 2 weeks. The first week will really be about getting you to drive the tram and learn the commentary. There'll be a theory involved as well. And then most of the second week is to do with getting used to all the trams. So you'll be taken out on each tram to get you signed off, because you do have to be signed off on each tram. There we go, we got a bit busier this afternoon as we go across. There we go, Laura Jane. Hello, Laura. How many people can you fit on a double-decker tram? From Alfie, age 8.
Big trams will actually hold up to 50.
Up to 50 on those big 3 trams. What about sort of 6 and 8?
Then you're limited to about 34, depending on which tram, and 8 is, I think, 40 something.
Yeah, so we have actually a big range of capacities across our trams. We're actually on the smallest capacity tram today, are we not? It's just 20 on here, isn't it?
Same as the boat is only 20, remember? Tram
There you
4.
go. Between, yeah. So we got a 20 enclosed on the on 19, and then 20 on the open boat 4, which, for those that are asking, the boat tram will be out tomorrow. Sheriff asks, how long is the track? We say it's about a 3-mile line, give or take a few metres.
Yep. Well, now I think it would be a good time, Josh, to introduce Steve again.
We're going to introduce Steve. Do Stuart and Felix count as funny things on the track? From Mark.
Oh, definitely, Mark, definitely.
Stuart and Felix are our track men who maintain the track. Greetings from Australia, from Peter. Hello, Charlotte. Any more questions? Feel free to put them in the chat. I can see Chaz asking if we're 2 meters apart. We are in this cab. This is one reason we chose this cab, to be able to do this chat today. It is a very, very big cab. Obviously, it looks a bit closer because of the camera. Ashley asks what gauge. Yeah, the gauge we used to be, when we were in Eastbourne, a 2-foot gauge, and some of our trams that came across from Eastbourne had to be increased to our new gauge. I say new, we're 50 years old this year. 2'9" is the current gauge. Right, so we're going to try and join Steve as we start to go through some of the farmland. Right, where is he? There he is. Right. Oh, we'll stick and start for now, and then yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us today. My name's Steve. I'm the commercial manager here at Seaton Tramway.
Let us know if you can hear us, because it is a little bit louder in the cab, so you might have to just raise your voice a little bit more, okay. Steve.
So my name's Steve. I'm the commercial manager here at Seaton Tramway, but also I've been studying wildlife at the Accessory now for about 20 years. We're very lucky that the tramway runs through the Axe Valley. Part of the reason, obviously, the floor pulled it down there, I should imagine. And as we're going along now, we're going through Colyton Common, which is on this side, Colyton Marsh, which is to the east side of the track. Colyton Marsh is basically farmland. It's grazed by cattle, it's sheep during the summer. During the winter it floods a bit more, but it's a haven for birds like widgeon, lapwings, black shell godwits, teal. And during the winter, that's when you get large numbers of birds. In the summer months, we've reduced to our breeding population of birds now. There's still many of them, but the big numbers are no longer present. This is Colyford Common, and there's a little egret.
Little egret. Slow down, Gareth.
Fantastic driver, slow down.
We're going on a safari now.
We've got a little egret here. It's behind a tree.
There we go. A little bit more, and it's just there. It is.
There we go. So that's a little egret. That's a small heron, just taking flight with the yellow feet obvious, possibly not through a phone camera. We're very lucky in that little egrets now nest on the Accessory. We have a colony of up to 20 birds, 20 pairs. About 30 years ago, little egret would have been an incredibly rare bird to see here, and even before that, a very rare bird to see in the UK, full stop. Now we have 3 species of egret nesting every year in the UK, most of them on the Somerset levels. We get them all occasionally, but this is the little egret, and you can see many of them from the tram ride basically throughout the year now. So thank you, Gareth.
Quickly, Gareth, how old is the oldest tram we have running?
Sorry, I can't hear you.
How old is the oldest tram we have running?
That's car 14, 1904 vintage.
Car 14, 1904, that one. Thank you, Charlie, for the question. Any more questions? Let them go through, even for Steve, for the wetlands.
Yeah, any wildlife questions or wetland questions, send them through to me. So this is Colyton Common now. This is, although it's not owned by East Devon District Council, it is managed and run by the East Devon District Council. This will flood at high tides because there's a network of ditches all the way through. As with the rest of the wetlands throughout the coronavirus, they have been open, which is great for me because I live about 3 minutes walk from them. The hides and the toilets facilities have been closed, but yeah, it's been great. They've stayed open, allowed plenty of green space for locals to go. And here is the hide at Colyford Marsh. One of the oldest hides we've got, but as I say, that is currently closed at the moment.
We've got a question from Mark. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Mark!
Is it true to say that there are now more birds in the valley all year round than there used to be? Is this because of the wetlands development?
I would say definitely so. So we're about to come up to a large wetland which is called Blackhole Marsh. That's been around since 2009. That was developed and built by East Devon District Council as a network of hides and scrapes and islands, and that's really improved the biodiversity of the valley. There's birds breeding on there now that we've never had breeding in the valley before, and it's certainly increased the number of species that spend the winter here. The access estuary is obviously tidal because it's a tidal estuary. A lot of the problem is at high tide, when there's no mud for the birds to feed on, they have to have somewhere safe to go and roost. And creating places that aren't tidal, like Blackhole Marsh, has given birds an area to roost safely during high tide. It's also great, there's nesting oyster catchers on there. We have redshank occasionally nesting in the area. The reed beds around are full of reed warblers and sedge warblers.
I think it's, if there's any reason to call Swan's Nest, I think it's
There
right in
it
front of
is.
us.
I think if we have a look, you probably can't see them again through the camera of the phone, but there are two cygnets with that swan.
I can see one. I
can
think we
see
can see
one.
the second just behind a little bit of grass.
That's it. And you can see also over there's the field study space. That's East Devon District Council's field study space. The Access You Ringing Group do a lot of work from there. That's where they're based from. Obviously they can't at the moment due to the social distancing measures. You can also see a number of boxes on top of the poles and the posts. There's a mixture of bat boxes, kestrel boxes. There's now 2 pairs of kestrels that nest in the valley. We've got swift boxes as well, which is fantastic because this year, for the first time since the wetlands were developed, common swifts are now nesting on site. And we also have barn owls nesting in the local vicinity. We've had 2 pairs. Currently we've got 1 pair nesting, but often you can see them from the tram because in the breeding season the adults will come out in the day. They're not confined to night time as many people think. And I must just mention now, we do these trips as part of our events in the year, a normal year. Obviously this year we've had to cancel. We managed to do one at the start of the season, then we had to go into lockdown. But normally we have these bird watching trips. We normally use the double deckers and we all go upstairs. We have a driver who has the whole track free basically, and he's able to stop and we can look around at a leisure. But yeah, so this is Colyton Common, and if we go on now to Blackhole Marsh, please, Gareth.
So just a quick question from Lee. Are animals allowed on the tram?
Dogs are allowed on the tram. On the double deckers, downstairs only. Obviously there's no upstairs here, so downstairs is fine. It's a flat fee each way, and obviously guide dogs are free. Guide dogs are welcome anytime.
And Claire asks, has the track ever been flooded? It has. Back in 2014, when the entirety of the southwest and most of the country was built under those storms, the Dawlish line went down. We did eventually have to close because we had a washout. We were closed for 6 weeks, and it was amazing. Considering the amount of work that had to be done. So yeah, 6 weeks. I think Steve spotted something with Gareth.
We have a grey heron.
There
Can you see it, Josh?
Yeah, I can.
You're
There
better
it
at me
is.
than finding keys than you are at finding birds, that's for sure. So we have a grey heron on the edge of the island there. Again, related to the little egret, same same shape, much bigger, obviously not the same colour. Again, they nest here in the Axe Valley. They're a resident species of bird. That bird will be waiting on the edges, looking for fish underneath, and it will use its sharp beak and stab the fish and pull it out. It's an adult bird, so it's probably got some very big young on the nest at the moment. And this is Black Hole Marsh, so this is, 2009.
Got some birds there.
Created.
I don't know what they are. Steve, you have to tell us.
Oh, shell duck.
Shell
I'll come
duck.
on to them in a minute. But good eyes, good eyes. This is Black Hole Marsh. 2009 it was created by EDDC. And the whole thing, this was basically just fields. It was fields, obviously floodplain really, but then they came in, they drew up these plans, and it's really improved the whole valley for birds, insects, all sorts of animals. And the shell duck, which Josh has mentioned, two white ducks there, they might have some young, and they do, they've got some young.
There they are, yeah.
You can see them on the corner.
Just about, big furry blobs.
So most of the ducks we get on the Axe Valley, we get in the winter. So you get a far more variety of ducks in the winter. During the summer, you still get mallards, which are the regular duck that most people associate as being a duck. And we have shell duck, which is the white ducks. Shell duck are unusual in that they nest in rabbit burrows.
Oh.
So most ducks, the male and the female, are completely different. You'll have a very colourful, bright male. The female's brown, and that's so she's camouflaged on a nest. Shell ducks, because they nest underground, the female doesn't need that. So essentially, there's a few slight differences, but essentially the male and the female shell duck are the same plumage. Pretty much every other duck, females are brown and the males are very bright.
Claire asks, have we ever seen a fox on the track? Actually, we've seen two today.
There's a lot.
Two today.
We're very lucky because it's such a wild area. Nature's just left to flourish. There's several fox dens around. There's fox cub I saw last night down on the Wetlands. We've had 2 already. Plenty of foxes, and I must just say something I really want to say: how lovely it's to be on a tram again. I work here, but I come here regularly with my family because we just live up the road. And this is the first time I've been on the tram for months, and it's far more gap than I've ever had. So thank you, Gareth. This is wonderful.
Shall we move forward?
We can move forward.
We can move.
I just want to mention about the Wetlands is the waterfall project. So we have foxes, we have otters at the moment, which is great, but they've released 250 waterfalls in the last 4 or 5 years. Harder to see, it's going to be tricky to see from the tram, but it's a real massive improvement to the local biodiversity, because waterfalls are incredibly rare species now. And if Josh pans the other way, we're going to start seeing the Axe Estuary. So this is one of the smallest estuaries in Devon. Obviously it's the most easterly estuary on the south coast. We have the Otter Estuary, and we have the much larger Exe Estuary. Now I always tell people, if you want to see loads and loads of birds, it's the Exe Estuary. But the problem with that, it's such a large estuary that they're often a long way away. Whereas on the Axe Estuary, we have a very similar variety of birds, less numbers, but you can always get a lot closer to them. Which is exactly what you can see with all these roosting gulls. Not seagulls. The term seagull doesn't exist. Gulls are species. Okay.
Just float.
Yeah. So we've got herring gulls. You've got some mallards there.
Stop just before it, Gareth.
And they're roosting.
Mark asked, do we have any, I'm going to pronounce this correctly, avocets?
Avocets.
Avocets.
Not
So
bad.
had to work out if the C was an S or not.
RSPB's emblem bird. We occasionally have avocets, and this spring, again, thanks to Black Hole Marsh, we've had several pairs of avocets drop in, spent a day or 2 here, and then they move on. We're hoping one day they might breed. There's a big wintering population on the Exe, which is the larger estuary that way, in the westerly direction. Slightly different habitat, and they can sustain a big sort of winter group of several hundred birds. But we do get them occasionally, especially during cold weather. We've had up to 14, and that's probably the biggest flock of avocet here, but they're a lovely bird. We have seen them on the bird watching trams before. Some of the rarest birds we've seen during the bird watching tram trips in Marsh area. We've had several osprey sightings, great white egret, barn owl. Donald Campbell once had a snow bunting during one of the trips. So they're an excellent way, and we've got the fantastic network of paths and nature reserves, but the tramway goes straight through the middle. From the tram you get an excellent view of the estuary, a lot of the birds have got used to the trams now, so they may swim a little in the way, but they don't fly very often. And then on the other side of the track, you've got the marshes, so you really get a feel for the whole valley, and you can go up through the whole valley in one trip. And the bird watching trips normally last for 2 hours, so you get plenty of time.
Fantastic. Susan quickly asks, is this one of the from Sophie. Sophie asks, is this one of the trams we use for the Polar Express? It is. Santa and the conductor does borrow our trams to take the guests to the North Pole every year. So yes, Santa and his conductors do borrow the trams, and this is one of them for a Polar Express.
We've got a little egret on the near side. This contraption here is a fantastic place to see kingfishers. They often nest. They often perch on the barriers there, because there's a water inlet valve there and the fish attract. So during especially the late summer and the winter period, if you go either on the tram trips, or if you go to Towelhide, it's a very good place for kingfishers, and you normally get really good views.
We've got a question.
Dinosaur!
Oh, dinosaur from our dinosaur tram adventure.
You don't get out on Spring Watch.
Yeah. Do we get, what type of fish? Do we get fish in the river? Is that why the birds are there?
There's a huge amount of small fish, invertebrates, but we get a lot of grey mullet on the river. And when we do get ospreys are a migratory species. They breed in Scotland, they winter in Africa. During the spring and the autumn we do get ospreys, and when they fish they always catch mullet, and they catch massive mullet. And I know a lot of our tram drivers have seen ospreys really well, because they perch up on the tram poles to eat the fish, or they're just going up and down hunting on the river. We had one stay for a long time last autumn, and a lot of our visitors were very lucky to see that. So yeah, there's the river. So that's Axmouth, the village of Axmouth. Now what's really interesting is, obviously this is a very small estuary now. If you go back to the 14th century, the estuary, actually we'd be in the middle of it now, and the whole estuary was the whole span of the whole marshes. So yeah, back in the 14th century, roughly when Gareth was born, you would have had there'd be large ships moving through here, and it was a really, really wide estuary.
It's about a mile wide, wasn't it?
It was mile wide.
There's actually mooring thingies on the pubs over the other side.
Yeah, on Axmouth. And big boats were apparently seen all the way up to Axminster, so it was a really large estuary. There was a shingle movement that came up the English Channel that cut the estuary down. I think it cut it off briefly, but it's then reduced it to the size it is today. Salt marsh was able to flourish. The marshes here, which actually do a fantastic job as being exactly what they should be doing, taking up any excess water. But yeah, it's amazing to think that once upon a time, this was all river. Question for Gareth.
Gareth, yeah, just a quick question. In what stages was the tramway built over the first sort of few years of its lifetime?
So first season we ran from the depot just up to Bobsworth Bridge, which was just past Blackhole Marsh. Those of you who've been with us for most of this time will have heard me talk about that earlier. Then we extended into Colyford, but the trip that now takes, let's say, half an hour with the new halts, actually took the tramway 10 years to complete. So we didn't actually get to Colyton, electrified with overhead and everything, till 1980, the first tram crossed the road.
So we often say it took 10 years to get to Colyton.
Yes. Bit quicker at this stage.
Yeah.
Interesting thing that Steve didn't tell you about Axmouth.
Whoa!
Yeah. In its heyday, he is absolutely a teetotaler, Steve, you see, like I am. But there were up to 14 public houses in Axmouth, and I think the residence was about 150. So they obviously liked their drink in those days. Right, I'm going to move down, Steve.
Nice shell duck showing here.
Shell duck.
Lovely shell duck. Very clearly distinctive as a duck, because it's white. It's very large. It's almost the size of a small goose.
And it says quack.
It doesn't actually.
Is that a male or female?
Trying to be funny.
That one looks like it's a female. Very hard to tell the difference, but the males have got a much larger red beak. But they both look, like I said earlier, the same. They're white, they've got a green head, red beak, and that chestnut band. They're quite big, and they often feed like that on the mud. A very common sight all year round, basically.
Great, so we're coming to the last sort of 15 minutes of our trip today up on Seaton Tramway. So like I say, if you've got any other questions for us whilst we're here live for you, please do post them in the comments below. Oh, we got a heron flying. Oh, can I get it? Can I get it? There he goes. Oh, trees. I don't think they'll hire me for Planet Earth, for Blue Planet. I don't think I'm going to get on.
So if it was I mean, obviously now we're in June, so it's the peak breeding season for birds. If it was the winter time, like I said earlier, you'd have large numbers of wading birds and ducks, widgeon, black-tailed goblet, redshank, curlew. So they've all now moved north. They're all nesting in Poland and some of them as far up as Arctic and Russia and Greenland. So the numbers of birds decline, but actually it's boosted a mix. You get birds like swallows, reed warblers, migratory species that spend the summer in the UK. They arrive, so they take their place. But normally the estuary is more of a winter kind of habitat because everything's gone off and it's paired up and it's breeding in the bushes and marsh.
What sort of impact do you think that the lockdown, given that we've all been not driving, not been here, what sort of impact do you think that's going to have on like this local wildlife and just generally?
So it's been very interesting. The problem is it's been quite hard to study because we were in such a severe lockdown. The people who'd be going out there and noting the changes on behaviour and the bird numbers, we weren't able to go out. So it's all quite amateur kind of data really. Then we've got James Chubb, I think.
We've got the
site
Wild
manager.
East Devon team out.
The site manager.
Is he around?
I did see him a minute ago.
Is he going to give us a wave?
Oh, he's gone.
The ranger's around.
We've missed him.
We've missed him.
In the birding world, we've dipped. That's called. If we go back this way, Josh, there's mallards, 3 mallards, and a little egret just flying off there. And we are now at the Seaton marshes. This is the original marsh, really. This was flooded in about 2002, so it's almost 20 years old now. The hyde was built in just about 2002 as well, so that's nearly 20 years old. So Seaton marshes are a bit nearer the town of Blackpool Marsh, they're within walking distance. But as I was saying, yeah, lockdown definitely helped. Obviously, general pollution levels have been improved. It seems that birds were nesting in areas where traffic, foot traffic would often put them off. It's created a little bit of a problem though, because birds started to nest in these places. Now that places are opening up and there's more people around, they're starting to get disturbed at a late stage. So sometimes we've got to be a bit careful, because birds will just sit there and see a space, think, oh great, no one here, I'm going to nest here. 4 weeks later, the lockdown teased a bit, some of these people coming back, it's going to be bad news for the birds, because the female will come off our eggs, or maybe abandoned. So it's possibly had a bad impact that way, but definitely general numbers have been good. It's been very dry, but when it's very dry, the ground gets very hard. It's very hard for birds to get worms and insects. We all think that dry weather is good. It is mostly good, but as I said, it makes the ground rock solid. So blackbirds will be struggling to find worms. So hopefully we've got a bit of rain coming. We've had a bit of rain, so we're easing out. But yeah, it's been a good breeding season really. Birds, and yeah, it's been a good spring. Lots of birds have come up from Africa, come over the area here and gone to their breeding grounds. This is south of Seaton Marshes. There's a lot of sheep on it, but it's called Sheep's Marsh. There's plans for the future for Sheep's Marsh to be extended of the wetlands. So in the end, hopefully, the wetlands will go all the way from Seaton and all the way up through the whole belt of green to Colyton Common. At the moment, there's little bits of farmland still in between that are farmed. So yeah, there's big plans for Sheep Marsh, which you should be able to see from our new platform. When our new platform is open, you'll be able to see the estuary out that way, the Axe estuary, where there's plenty of shellduck again. And you'll be able to see Sheep's Marsh on that side. Excellent place for foxes, and everyone always likes to see the rabbits on the corner here. Bunny Corner, I understand it's called.
Bunny Corner, that's right, yeah.
Bunny Corner.
So we're just coming up now to our Riverside depot out on the left there. Gareth, what are you about to do?
Start the system to get right away down into Seaton. White light,
White light. We do have a white light.
and we're clear to go.
Fantastic. So if you missed it yesterday, we did go live from our Riverside depot yesterday. That video is still on our Facebook page. So it was about a 40-minute tour throughout. We had lots of questions answered in there from Gareth. And a bit of myself, but Gareth knows most of it. we're carefully going around Depot Corner, down back towards the straight. Like I say, we've got about 10 minutes left of our Facebook Live today, so if you've got any questions that you're raring to ask, shove them in the chat. We'll see if we can answer them. Anything more for Steve, and we can definitely make sure we've got our money's worth this week.
Absolutely. Crows on this side, Josh.
As to the home of the Bovis site. The new housing's going in, and some of the already built. So, top left of you, Gareth, is a little meter. Can you tell us what that is?
That's an ammeter. That shows how much current we're pulling. So as I notch up, you'll see it go up, and as I come off, it'll drop back to 0.
So we're now back approaching back into Seaton town centre. Now it's worth mentioning as well that we, when we first opened, we didn't go straight into the town. Is that right, Gareth?
That's right, we stopped at the depot. The main boarding and alighting place was Seaton Depot, Riverside Depot. 1975, I think it was. We extended and opened the station. It wasn't a station in those days. It was a mobile shop. Steve is shouting Starling.
Starling!
There's a lot of them in front of us now.
Oh my goodness.
Common starlings.
Steve will want to
Yes.
tell you about a
I
special
will want to tell you
starling.
about a special starling. There is a bright pink starling, folks. There's a bird called a rose-coloured starling. We've got 2 in Seaton at the moment. And a bird that winters in Sri Lanka and India, and they've had a massive expansion in their range and they've erupted. So check your local starling box for one that's bright pink, and it really is bright pink. And that's called a rose-coloured starling. More hen in the niche as well, but Josh is too slow.
So what's really interesting is over the lockdown we saw how fast the grass over this track grew, and we came down I think a week or 2 ago, and it was it's about 6 foot tall. So some of our volunteers have managed to come in and get this cut down for us. Now those that know the area will know that there is a centre next door, and Steve will talk a bit about the centre.
So we're just coming round the corner now towards Seaton Jurassic, run by Devon Wildlife Trust. Currently it's closed, sadly, of course, due to the pandemic and the lockdown, but hopefully, I think they're planning to open later the year, hopefully, and it's always lovely to come past here and see everyone playing in the garden.
So yeah, that's Seaton Jurassic, open next door to us.
Dolphin and a swordfish.
They're not real.
Yes, there's a great little, great centre inside there, and an exhibition. Here we go. We're going to approach now. We're going to let Steve off so that we can get the door open for the tram.
I've seen a firecrest here, in the bushes here.
Oh, not right now though.
Not right now.
Oh, okay.
Should have been here about 2 months ago. Maybe 3.
There we go, Steve.
Thank you, Gareth. On to the new block paving, as built by our engineering manager, Lee Taylor.
So he's going to go inside now and open the door for us. Any more questions for us? Put them in the comments below. You enjoying your week here, Gareth? Driving the trams, giving some tours?
Always do. I don't get much chance to drive these days, so it's really a pleasure.
So those that don't know, our brand new station opened in 2018. State of the art. Fits 4 trams in. It's also a multi-purpose space, so we We can do music events and theatre. We've done evenings, talks, meetings, all sorts here at the Tramway.
Concerts?
Concerts as well, yeah. So what we're going to do now is we're going to depart, and we'll also show you exactly how we're going to be exiting people when we go off as well. Okay, right, so we'll be welcomed off, and again adhering to the 2 metre markings that are on the floor. Gareth, which way will we be focused? So we'll be coming this way, we'll be told to come this way. Going through, let's go.
Now normally, Josh,
Gareth will get you.
Normally, Josh, obviously, look, if you follow these, there will not be a tram on road 2, and you'll go out and head to the exit over there. And that's keeping people queuing to come in, going out, beautifully separated.
Absolutely, we want to keep you as safe as possible whilst you're here at the Tramway. So, if there's no more questions in the chat, thank you very much for joining us today on this lovely sort of overcast Wednesday. We thought we were going to expect rain, but it held up for us.
It's going to rain for the Tramathon, Josh.
No, we'll be fine, it'll be fine. Absolutely, the Tramathon. Now, tomorrow, will be a slight change in the normal programming of this week. We'll be going live at 12 midday from the station, okay? And we will go live, hopefully, for 24 hours. Now, obviously, we've never tested a 24-hour live stream before, but all things considered, just if there's any break tomorrow, we'll go live as quickly as possible again. But we will be doing a tram trip to and from Colyton for 24 hours live on Facebook. We'll also have set up another camera inside the station that you'll be able to view on YouTube. That'll be live for the full 24 hours as well. But like I say, the reason we're doing this is for the future of Seaton Tramway. COVID-19 and the lockdown has hit everyone hard, and especially heritage railways and tramways like ourselves. We heavily rely on donations and your patronage to our lovely tramway. Your tickets go straight back into preservation and continuance. And as we are celebrating our 50th year this year in August, we want to make sure that we can see ourselves celebrating our 100th year in another 50 years as well. So like I said all week, tram.co.uk/Tramathon. There's 2 links there, one to donate. Minimum of £5 will get you in our prize draw. So then during the 24 hours, we'll be giving away lifetime tickets, lifetime loyalty cards, whole day, half day tram driving lessons, driver's eye experiences, and a few more things included as well. So a minimum of £5 to be included in there. You can donate up to 10 times to be included. You can donate a lot more than 10 times, but a maximum of 10 times for the draw. If you'd like to be put in a chance to win any of those lovely prizes.
Also worth mentioning that you can donate less than £5.
Oh yes, absolutely. You can donate as little as you want, but the £5 gets you entrance to the prize draw. So even 50p, we'll be eternally grateful for those donations. Also on those links is a link to the hero ticket. Now a hero ticket was created during the lockdown to help support ourselves throughout this time, so we can get some more money to ensure the continuation for us, but it also give back to you, so you can use that as redeem it as an all-day explorer ticket when we reopen later this year, and you can redeem that anytime up until December 2021. So you'll have a year and a half to use those hero tickets, and you'll also be entered into the prize draw if you use a hero ticket. That will count towards the prize draw.
Josh?
Yes?
Shall we put out a final plea?
A plea?
Please drop in tomorrow during the 24 hours, if not for the whole 24 hours, because we're going to have more time to chat about different things and answer more in-depth questions. And certainly in the early hours of tomorrow night, we did Tramathon, let's think now, 5 years ago. I did it then, and it was tiring. But with your support, it's a lot better. So questions, 3 in the morning, you can't sleep, we'll be awake, we'll be here, give us a call.
Absolutely. It's worth mentioning though, when he says drop in, that does mean drop in onto the live stream. We are not open for public transport during the Tramathon. So we'll be live from 12 until 12 midday on Friday. We'll be going straight through the night. It's worth mentioning, especially to the locals that might be watching this, is that we will be stopping going all the way to Colyton from 11 o'clock at night till 7, as the crossing lights are very, very loud, and we'd like to let our locals sleep on Thursday evening, and then we'll restart going all the way to Colyton again on Friday morning from 7. Is it worth mentioning some of the trams we might be using? We're definitely pushing for number 4. I know that's been a big request this week. We'll have the lights on in the evening as well, which will be lovely. Number 19 will be back out as well, and we hope we might get maybe one of the older double-deckers out. Depends on logistics and how many bodies we've got to logistically pull those out of the depot. But once again, thank you very, 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 very much for joining us this week. It's been lovely to see all the donations and all the lovely messages and questions coming through. Once again, tram.co.uk/Tramathon to donate. Minimum of £5 to get you in the draw, but you can donate as much or as little as you want. Any final words, Gareth?
Thank you for joining us today. Hope to see you tomorrow.
Thank you very
Friday.
much. Absolutely. Thank you.